Hey everyone, Benson, Performance Capability. So here's the question that I want to ask you. Are you feeling lost right now? Because if you are, that might be a good thing. That's where transformation begins if you see it in the right way. The caterpillar literally dissolves into chaos before it becomes a butterfly in the cocoon. Lostness isn't failure. It's literally the cocoon of the next level. So let me ask you, what if being lost isn't the problem, but the very proof you're about to break through? And what if your confusion today is the exact signal that your old self is dying so your new self can be literally reborn? See, here's the deeper truth. Lostness is not disorientation. It's reorientation. It's the messy middle where the old map no longer works. The old paradigm no longer works because a bigger world is calling you forward. The question is, will you resist the unknown or will you surrender to the process that's literally reshaping you right now? Yours is the choice. Let's find out in this message. Let's run the intro.
Hold your breath, all the moves we're making.
See, if you feel lost right now, maybe confused, unsure about your next step, congratulations. You're exactly where transformation begins. See, confusion is not a curse, it's a signal. It's the ignition point of transformation. Neuroscience shows that uncertainty doesn't shut the brain down, it lights it up, activating the very learning centers that drive growth and development. Psychology confirms that identity shifts almost always begin in seasons of disorientation, when the old self no longer fits, but the new self hasn't yet arrived. So the confusion you feel right now isn't weakness. It's evidence that your system is already breaking down the old and rewiring the new and preparing for your ultimate breakthrough. See, most people panic when they feel lost. They think something's wrong with them, that they're falling behind or that they failed. But feeling vulnerable and disorientated is not evidence of failure. It's evidence of change that is underway. You know, in fact, psychologists call this liminal space a transition phase where the old identity is dissolving and the new identity is not yet visible. You cannot step into a new version of yourself while still clinging tightly to the old one. The very discomfort you fear is the doorway to your own personal growth. Think about a caterpillar for a moment. Before it becomes a butterfly, it literally, the whole system dissolves into liquid inside the cocoon. Total and utter disorientation, total breakdown. That confusion is what makes flight possible. And here's the deeper insight. Inside the cocoon, special cells called imagal discs, dormant during the caterpillar's life, suddenly activate. They use breakdown of the old body as fuel to build wings, legs, and antennae. What looks like destruction from the outside is actually construction on the inside. It's the perfect biological metaphor for how confusion fuels transformation in our own lives. See, one study from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology showed that people who embrace uncertainty during life transitions reported higher levels of resistance and long-term satisfaction. Another example that I found comes from neuroscience. Research into neuroplasticity literally reveals that the brain forms its strongest new connections during times of disorientation and times of challenge. MRI studies demonstrate that when we face confusion in learning, the brain's problem-solving networks light up, building stronger pathways than if the task was simple. In other words, confusion isn't wasted. It's your brain literally rewiring itself for transformation. See, confusion is a reset button. It wipes the old operating system so a new one can be installed. In neuroscience terms, it's like synaptic pruning. The brain clears all outdated connections so stronger, more efficient ones can form and develop. Just as a computer runs smoother after a system upgrade or a defrag, your mind becomes sharper and more adaptive after moving through confusion. Feeling lost is not always falling behind. It's transformation, often in disguise. In fact, research on resilience and growth mindset shows that setbacks and confusion often precede the most significant personal development outcomes. Neuroscientists have pointed out that the brain forms its strongest new neural pathways under stress, while psychologists emphasize that moments of disorientation can accelerate identity growth. What looks like being off track is often the exact path your brain needs to develop itself and evolve. See, if you think about this as an analogy, think of an aircraft flying from London, say, to Los Angeles. It's off track more than 90% of the time due to winds, turbulence, weather systems, you name it. Yet constant small adjustments by the autopilot ensure it still reaches its destination in the same way. Turbulence in flight and in life is often the very sign that you're moving forwards, not backwards. See, let me ask you this question. Where in your life do you feel completely lost right now? And what possibilities might be waiting on the other side of that feeling of lostness? What if that confusion isn't a setback, but the exact preparation for your next breakthrough? The training ground where your brain rewires, your resilience rebuilds, and your future identity starts to take shape. Can you trust the process long enough to let that transformation happen in your own situation? So let me ask you this. Stop resisting this situation. Sit in it, journal it, trust it, because on the other side of confusion is always clarity. And on the other side of being lost is literally a new you. So don't run from the process, embrace it. Transformation requires it. Neuroscience shows that when we allow uncertainty instead of fighting it, our brain's adaptive networks strengthen. And psychologists, again, they note that those who practice mindfulness in moments of confusion always gain greater clarity and long-term resilience. Let me give you 5 practical steps you can take right now to live this principle. The first one, number 1, take time to pause and breathe. Science shows that deep diaphragmatic breathing activates the nervous system, lowering cortisol and calming the body so your brain can process uncertainty with clarity. Next, number 2, journal the chaos. Write down every thought and feeling. Clarity often hides inside messy pages. Research shows that expressive writing reduces stress, improves immune function, and helps the brain organize scattered experiences into coherent narratives. Or in other words, when you pour confusion on paper, you're literally helping your mind sort chaos into clarity. 3, reframe the fear. This discomfort is proof my brain and identity are upgrading. Neuroscience shows that fear and excitement share the same physiological signals: racing heart, sweaty palms, heightened awareness. Next, take one micro action. Choose one small tangible step forward, even if the full path is unclear at this point. Behavioral science shows that small wins create momentum by releasing dopamine, which motivates further action. So here's the other one. Practice mindfulness daily. Train your mind to stay calm and curious inside uncertainty. Scientific studies on mindfulness meditation show it reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center, while strengthening prefrontal cortex, which governs focus and decision-making action. By practicing even a few minutes a day, you condition yourself to respond to confusion with curiosity instead of panic, creating space for clarity to emerge. So today, take this deliberate step. Instead of avoiding what feels disorientating, lean into it as your training ground. This transformation isn't a concept, it's a practice. It begins with choosing to stay present inside that cocoon. Remember this, there's no escape from struggle, only delay. The weak waste their energy searching for shortcuts, trying to bypass discomfort. But discomfort is relentless. It will find you whether you invite it or not. The only choice you have is to face it now or let it consume you later on. See, powerful individuals understand this law. They don't flinch when difficulty arises. They move forward with purpose. When pain threatens to break them, they push harder. When fear whispers retreat, they step forward. Avoidance is weakness, and weakness is a debt that compounds over time. See, there's only one way forward, as they say, and that's through. The storm must be walked through. The fire must be endured. The darkness must be entered. On the other side of discomfort lies mastery, confidence, and dominion over yourself and your surroundings. Those who refuse to face it remain trapped, circling the same fears and limitations. But those who go through, who embrace the trial, emerge stronger, sharper, untouchable. The way out is not around, not over, not under. The way out is through. And here's the final truth to carry with you. Discomfort is not your adversary, it's your ally. It's the compass pointing towards your destiny. The sooner you lean into it, the sooner you unlock strength, clarity, and freedom, which is waiting for you on the other side. This is Benson, Performance Capability. I hope you got some value out of this. And in the meantime, until I see you in the next message, look out and follow the 7 stars. Thanks very much.
Hold your breath.